Joining us with his take as a former Google Vice President of Product for Privacy and Data Protection, Rob Leathern, also served as Meta's Senior Director of Product for Business Integrity. Rob, I want to get to some current concerns as well, just overall with Alphabet's ability to compete. But what is your reaction to what you just heard there in terms of DeepMind and in terms of those overall concerns about the development of this technology?
I think Google's in a pretty interesting spot. I think people's expectations are probably rightfully that they have a lot of this technology. They're going to produce some of the best advances and also integrate it into their products. But they've kind of been drawn into this issue around in their chat interface, which is somewhat new for them, having some things show up that perhaps they had not anticipated. So I think it's an interesting time for the company around some of these products and how they operate.
Yeah, it's also an interesting time because there seems to be a growing chorus of those who wonder whether Google or Alphabet has the wherewithal to sort of disrupt itself, so to speak. It's had an unchallenged, essentially, monopoly on search, but that would seem to be changing. Do you agree with those who sort of wonder, are they going to be up to the task as this seminal change sort of takes place in the terms of the way people discover things?
I think it is still a question how these kinds of technologies get integrated into their flagship products. Obviously, search being one of the biggest ones people are going to pay attention to. So far, they've been pulled into starting to put this into various products. I think an open question is, how does the AI-powered search experience change? How does that affect monetization for their search ads business? And what's the consumer response going to be? So I do feel like it's poised, and we haven't really seen all the details of how these experiences are going to play out for consumers just yet.
Well, has it been your experience, and I know it's a while since you've been there, that Alphabet perhaps would move too slowly on some of these efforts?
I think that is the case. They're not used to, some other companies like Meta, where I obviously worked as well, are used to executing under a ton of pressure, a lot of public scrutiny, able to roll with the punches as they make inevitable missteps as they try to figure out products and how they work with the public. So I do think Google has less of a history of that, and they also have taken a more cautious approach with some of their other non-search products over the years. If folks are old enough to remember when Gmail first came out, it was in beta for 5 years, and I think again beta is somewhat of a marketing construct, but similarly they've tried to disclaim how good the Gemini, previously barred chat interface, would be. They've called it an experiment. So they're in a spot where they're trying to manage expectations, and it's proving difficult, I think, at least the last couple of weeks.
What about just cultural issues that are now being raised at Google and at Alphabet, especially, I hate to use the word woke, but if you see some of these images that are generated by its AI, the founding fathers, the question about that Nate Silver asked Gemini about, which was worse for society, Elon Musk tweeting or Hitler, and they came up with Musk. Like, have they gone too far? And I do wonder if it's harmful to the innovation there that's creating some of these problems with their products.
I do think this excessive caution, as a Google SVP pointed out in a blog post they made as a result of this, this excessive caution does sometimes work against them for sure. They had this opportunity to really make some changes. They did. I'm happy that, for example, if you put in a generic image query for a software engineer, it doesn't just show you white men. But I think when it comes to, for example, to a historical query where there might be some accuracy issues, that those need to be addressed.
George Washington.
Yeah,
exactly. Especially when you consider that people trust Google and trust Google search results. They're in a different position. OpenAI and other companies can do things that people are going to have different expectations of Google for.